Good afternoon to all you cool cats and homebrewers out there. You're listening to WCKN, the home for hopheads and headbangers. I'm your host, the Hop Man, and this goes out to all the folks keeping it funky and heavy. Speaking of heavy, I've got some heavy news that two of the funky chicken boys have finally been caught by the man. Some rookie cop thought he'd make a name for himself, but he should know the blue meanies can't keep a cool guy down.
What can you tell me about this?
What do you want me to say?
Alright, I'll talk. So this beer, we were trying to make the dankest, piniest IPA known to man.
We're brewing shockingly an IPA.
This time we're revisiting our old buddy Idaho 7. We've got actually three forms of Idaho 7 this time. I've got our standard T90 pellets, then I've got some cryo that Yakima Chief had sent a sample of, and then I even have like an actual like whole leaf bale sample before it's been pelletized.
Yeah, so it should finish really, really dry, open for kind of like an herbal, citrusy orange, kind of botanical flavor, if you catch my drift.
We're just gonna put every form of Idaho 7 in here, pair it with some Columbus, some Chinook Cryo for extra dankness.
But yeah, I want it to be on the drier side, yet incredibly drinkable, crushable, but definitely still have some bitterness. I want you to know that we're drinking an IPA.
When it came to the mash, we went pretty standard.
What? You want me to tell you about the malt?
Your Pilsner, your Golden Promise.
I can't tell you about the malt.
We threw some Munich in there for some color and malt backbone.
Why? You think I remember the malt? 'Cause I don't.
We threw a little monkey wrench in the plans. Yeah, I had a bunch of riverbed malt samples. Just dumped them in there. I don't even remember what was in there. Munich. Who knows what. Probably about 6 ounces of malt samples in there. You'll never be able to extract that from me, copper. You'll never be able to replicate this. It's totally unique.
with a different number this time. It's not just all about 69 and 420 over here. This is the Thunder Sled 71. 71 minute mash, 71 minute boil, 71 IBUs given by the first Wort hops. So this is going to be a pretty bitter boy.
We're calling it Thunder Sled 71. That is the term that Ben has named this awesome truck that I call Old Floyd, after my grandfather. This was my grandfather's truck.
It's kind of actually a lazy nickname. I stole it from my uncle's old Ford Galaxy 500, which was called the Thunder Sled.
He bought it brand new in the 70s, or lightly used, I'm not sure, but I mean, it's from then in the 70s. It's only got 69,896 miles on it. So, remarkably durable, simple car, love it.
Heading towards more West Coast style, actually using a West Coast style yeast, not English ale yeast this time.
This is actually the first vehicle I ever drove, which is kind of cool.
Thunder Sled 71 may or may not be a reference to Thunder Kiss 65 by Rob Zombie.
Those funky chicken boys get your stir-up a mash, but y'all know it's the boil where they go wild. They're wanted in 7 states for excessive use of hops, and I think y'all about to know why, you dig? The last American heroes to whom hops mean freedom of the soul. The question is not when they're gonna stop, but who's gonna stop them.
We went for mostly Idaho 7 in this brew, with some Columbus and cryo Chinook from our good friends at Yakima Chief. Then, when I was at work, I saw a sample of some whole cone Idaho 7. It's supposed to be used to sample and smell, but I thought it'd be a good idea to dump it in the beer.
This is a cautionary tale.
we didn't have the hop bag. Maybe we should have thought about this beforehand.
We dumped it in there and just free as the wind.
It might have clogged up the entire siphoning system.
It took time bringing it down in temperature. We were going to house it in its normal chamber. And then, the fix is in. The fermentation chamber no longer worked. We spent a good solid hour trying to get it to work, thinking it was possibly an outlet failure. Possibly, who knows, divine intervention? But no. You know who I think was responsible? Well, looking at you, man. Looking at you. So I hopped in the sled. I went to a hardware store that doesn't sponsor this channel, so will not be named, although if they want to, that would be great, because I like to get paid.
Well, that's just the way the barley crumbles. That old fermentation chamber had been giving the boys trouble for the past year, and finally that 10-year-old kegerator up and died. But a funky chicken boy don't give up so easily.
As we're loading said freezer into said bed of said sled, I was harassed.
Yeah, 3 people tried to buy the truck when we're driving home from Lowe's. But that's to be expected.
Hey, man, that's a nice truck. You want to sell it? Yeah, man. Yeah, I want to sell that truck. The thing I'm putting a freaking chest freezer in. Yeah, I want to go ahead and sell it to you right now. Let's go ahead and do it, buddy. Said no one ever. Anyway, we left there, got to a traffic light. Guess what happened? Not that guy, but another guy. Hey, man, nice truck. That sure is a nice truck. Anybody ever tell you that? Yeah.
Then we did too much of a good cold crash. Perfectly crystal clear beer, so it didn't carbonate at all. Months went by. All we had was a sticky, icky mess of flat beer. So we had to mad scientist a bit. We added some bottling yeast, re-purged it. Some was empty on the world, so see a fluffy, beautifully carbonated beer.
CBC1. Ever heard of it?
Exquisite mouthfeel.
It's delicious. That's my tasting note description. Just delicious.
Sticky, bitter, herbal, a little bit of dank.
Yeah.
On a whole, this beer will never be replicated again. You can ask me all the questions you want. You'll never be able to make this beer. I'll never give in. The funny thing about this beer is it's 6 months old by now. We screwed up. We waited too long. We thought, surely it will carbonate. But it never did. And now, 6 months later, it is still insanely piney. I drank all mine. Here, let me pour you some more. Even under non-ideal conditions, it still retains a lot of flavor. It's got pretty decent aroma even still, but I'm sure this would have been prime during its first 3 months.
Well, not to say that I got into it before it was carbonated, months on end, but I did get into months on end of non-carbonated Thunder Sled. I almost think that if it carbonated the way it should have, or we wanted it to, maybe it would have been a little too aggressive.
Those whole cone hops really add to the flavor. I feel like this beer is very similar to Torpedo by Sierra Nevada. Obviously lighter and drier and more hop forward. But since they only brew with whole cone hops, I feel like we've captured some of that flavor here.
Sorry to interrupt, but I've got to save you.
Not again. This is like Raccoon City.
I told you, don't underestimate those funky chicken boys. Now who knows where they're off to? Probably lay low for a little bit, but they'll be back, if you like and subscribe. Off now to explore new horizons, to boldly go where no brewer has gone before. The last American brewers, the propane centaurs, the demigods, the super brewers of the West. lupulin cosmonauts floating in an infinite sea of creativity.
My truck's not for sale. Unless you want to give me a lot of money. And then it's totally for sale. For $69,000 million trillion.